Coming up today on Homemade Live, it's all about recipe redemption.
They're not flops, they're flopportunities.
We'll show you how to get a second chance to remake those recipes that went terribly wrong.
You will definitely not mess up if you cook on TV.
Best-selling cookbook author Kenji Lopez-Alt is in the house.
I'm gonna let you go until you pass out. Keep going, baby.
He dishes on his own personal gnocchi nightmare.
I ran to the bathroom, got the plunger, stuck it in the pasta machine.
You did not. And I'll finally get a chance to cook a meal that's been 20 years in the making.
He doesn't even know what he was gonna miss.
It's all happening right now on Homemade Live.
Guys, this is gnocchi that Kenji did not plunge.
Hey, I'm Joel, a dad, husband, and sustainable chef in Seattle, Washington. I believe the best ingredient on earth isn't what's on the plate, it's actually what's around the plate. The people, the places, the stories. That's what inspired Homemade Live. Each week we go live from our kitchen in front of a studio audience with famous friends. We share food memories and recreate them on the spot. Welcome to Homemade Live.
I love it! Thanks, guys. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about today's episode because it is all about making mistakes. It's amazing. Today's episode is called Recipe Redemption. And I think because I'm a chef, people think I don't mess up in the kitchen. That is beyond wrong. That is so wrong. In fact, some of the best accidents in the world turned into some of the best food in the world. Things like popsicles were an accident. Do you guys know that? No joke. Tarte tatin, anyone know apple tarte tatin? Total accident, total. So some of our favorite things weren't meant to be. So I tried out to work at this really fancy restaurant in San Francisco, really fancy. And I was gonna make this unbelievable pasta dish. And all week I was shelling peas. It was like the spring and fresh peas were in season. And all week I was shelling peas. And the chef had everyone around us, just like this amazing audience right here. So he said, hey Joel, go grab the peas. And it was this vat of peas I've been working on all week. And I kind of climb up there and I reach for the peas and they just tumble down on me. I know. Guys, I'm still like freaking out. So I'm looking at it, everyone's in the other room and I'm like, do I just shovel it in? Like, what do I do? Or do I like go and be honest? So I go in the other room, I tell the chef in front of everyone, I'm like, chef, I am so sorry. The peas are gone. Like there are no peas. And in front of everyone, he just fired me. I mean, it was so bad. I know, but I got back. Oh, don't even worry. I went in the back, took off my apron, took the baking soda label and the baking powder label, and I swapped them. Their cookies were messed up for days, baby. It was bad. So this is my recipe redemption, the pasta I was going to make, which is a sweet pea carbonara. Here we go. All right. So step one for this carbonara is the pasta. And I love like tagliatelle, fettuccine, but we've got some boiling water here. And these are kind of like fresh, kind of dried, but you can use dried pasta. It's totally cool. These will take about 6 minutes. You just kind of drop these little nests in here. Nice big pinch of salt. A little more. I studied in Italy. Okay, all right. No, it's hard to oversalt pasta. You really want it to get salty because it just kind of like sucks it up and really flavors the sauce. Now, speaking of the sauce, this sauce, oh my gosh. Anyone ever had a carbonara before? My knees buckled just saying carbonara. It starts off, we have some pancetta, which is kind of Italian bacon vibes. It's from the jowl of the pig. It's got some pepper, some oregano, things like that, but it's kind of more gamey, a little bit more rich than bacon. You can totally use bacon, but we just kind of rendered that out like this in a pan until it's nice and crispy. Yeah, you could just lick that. Yeah, that's a little hot to lick, but yeah. That would be a bad accident to make. And I'm just gonna toss this pasta real quick. And to prove this, that chefs, cookbook writers, food writers, we mess up the most, we actually have one of Seattle's most celebrated cookbook authors. She's also the food stylist of Homemade Live. Give it up for Ashley Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Ashley, you have your third cookbook baby on the way.
Yes, I do.
When is it due?
Next spring, March 2024.
What's the name?
It's called Rooted Kitchen.
I love it. And it's all about kind of connecting food to earth.
Yeah, how to deepen your relationship with the earth using food. It's seasonal, there's foraging, all sorts of fun things like that.
I love it. So,
Yep.
I mean, you're a cookbook author. We turn to cookbooks for our recipes. What's your kind of take on messing up in the kitchen?
Oh, it never happens.
Never
I don't know what you're talking about.
And cut.
Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
The way I see mistakes, they're like flopportunities. They're not flops, it's opportunities for getting creative, right?
No new cookbook.
That's right, that's right. No, it's a way of, say, okay, this happened, it's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
How can I use this to work for me?
I love it.
Sometimes you just have to completely scrap it, and that happens too.
Yeah,
but-
totally. Oh, Ashley, thank you. I totally agree.
Thanks for having me.
Totally agree. All right. So pancetta is kind of rendered. Pasta is cooking. I got a couple of eggs. This is the easiest little sauce. We're gonna crack this in the bowl, right? And then you just kind of grab a whisk. It's almost like making a frittata or an omelet or something like that. You just kind of start breaking this up. And then into this mixture, we're gonna add garlic. Now, when you add garlic to any recipe, if it's raw and you're not gonna cook it, it's gonna be spicy. If you cook garlic, it's gonna be sweet. So this is gonna be a little bit spicy. And then speaking of spice, one of my favorite, has anyone ever heard of Aleppo chili? You can find this now. It's like a rosy sweet spice, so I'm gonna go with a pinch of that. This is what I was gonna make him. He doesn't even know what he was gonna miss. Unbelievable. And then a little bit of Parmesan. Yeah, keep it going. No. Okay, fine. So you're just kind of mixing that parm into the eggs, and it looks like a disaster. This looks like a very happy mistake, all right, but this is the base to just something creamy and velvety and delicious. So at this point, the pasta is maybe like a minute out, and this is where you should grab those sweet peas. I will not drop them. Put them in the pan with the pancetta. And honestly, just as a single dish, this pancetta and peas, I mean, with a little bit of salt and Parmesan on top of that, I mean, that next to Thanksgiving, next to any meal would be delicious. So those are kind of on standby. Everyone with me so far? Now I love it. Now it's gonna get a little bit cray-cray. Ready? You go in for the pasta. Beautiful. And so this steam, this hot pasta, cooks the egg. So this is what makes the egg, but you kind of want to work it really fast. And the faster you work it, the more that egg won't scramble. It will turn into a really nice sauce. So you can see it's just becoming really creamy, delicious, not scrambling at all. And then you just go in with about half that pea mixture. And you get that going. I know. And then you just grab a big bowl, and this pasta, the way that you should always serve pasta is to kind of grab it, twist it, so it kind of goes up. And that way it kind of goes at whoever's eating it, and it really just plates a little bit better. So you do that, and you just kind of scrape all those goodies. Look at that. See how creamy? Looks so good. A little bit more parm, a little bit. Fresh mint, because mint and peas are best friends. We just kind of tear that over the top. And then I grab a fork, I stab it in there, and I say, I would have gotten that job, chef. That's all I gotta say. All right, I'm sliding this over to you. Yeah, delicious. That is a little bit about my story. Now we are headed to hear a little bit more about your stories. Check this out.
Hi, Joel. We're the Milligan sisters, and we are making our grandmother's crab casserole.
My Grammy always said, everything tastes better with cream and butter, and this dish has plenty of both. Take your cholesterol medicine and chow down. You just have to use up the leftovers. I kind of feel like Julia Child here. Maybe we could put a little pepper on if we want, or we could do that at the table, you think? Oh no, you don't put on the heavy cream. We may have to do this again.
All
All
right.
right.
We have to put it in the oven, and when we come out, it'll be crispy and brown and delicious. I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
Bye, Joel.
Guys, I'm geeking out over our guest today. He is a James Beard Award-winning, best-selling cookbook author, New York Times contributor, Also Seattleite, host of Kenji's cooking show on YouTube, Kenji Lopez-Alt. You're the best.
Oh, thank you.
Your books are amazing, dude. Your books are so it's amazing that you're
Yeah,
here.
they say that's like having a book is like having a baby, and mine are like actually the.
They're actually the weight of a baby. Yeah, it's actually the weight of a baby. I love it. I mean, it's not just for recipes, it's for how to boil an egg. It's
I've written
amazing.
a lot about boiling eggs. Yeah.
You have definitely tested. Like, I know we're talking all about happy accidents. This whole career for you has been a happy accident.
Oh, absolutely.
How did you
Yeah,
fall into it?
Total luck. I was a biology major, and I was thinking I don't want to do biology anymore because I took organic chemistry and I hated it. And so the summer after my sophomore year of college, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So instead of working in a lab that summer, I was like, all right, I'm going to go find a job in a restaurant as a waiter.
Okay.
Went around a bunch of restaurants, nobody was hiring waiters, but one place I walked in, they said, oh, we had a prep cook who didn't show up this morning. If you can start working today, if you know how to hold a knife and you can start working today, you can have a job for the summer. And that's how I got my first cooking job ever. I'd never stepped foot in a professional kitchen before that. Never went to culinary school. That was my first job.
All I have to say is thank God that guy was sick because we got to reap the benefits. Unbelievable. And speaking of reaping the benefits, I know you're a super humble guy, but you moved to Seattle how long ago?
3 years ago?
Oh my God, we're
almost exactly 3.
Dude, it's so cool that you're here. You do have this kind of ripple effect. It's called the Kenji effect. And you're like going to these mom and pop pizza joints and bagel shops and sandwich places, and you're reviewing them and talking about them in a really authentic way, and you're kind of like blowing them up. What is that like?
I mean, it's purely selfish. I want to find good food. So I find every time I post about one good thing, people are very generous with their knowledge. I get 100 comments saying, oh, that one's great. You should also try this one, and also try this one. By sharing, I also get shared back at, and I love that.
Love that. All right, well, you know today's episode is all about recipe redemption. It's about celebrating, and I know you have a story about gnocchi.
One of my first restaurant jobs, like sort of my first fancy restaurant job, I was on the pasta station. My job was to cook gnocchi, among other pasta, potato gnocchi. And you know, the thing with potato gnocchi is that you make a dough with potatoes, eggs, and flour.
Yes.
If you add too much flour, they get dense and gummy.
Like bouncy.
Exactly. And so the goal is to add just enough flour that they hold together.
Yes.
So there was a day when I just didn't put enough. So lunch service starts, we have this gigantic pasta machine with like 6 wells for cooking pasta, circulates water around. I put my gnocchi in and they just disintegrate. Right, so the gnocchi are gone. I'm like, what happened to them?
Mashed
and then,
potatoes at that point.
And then those mashed potatoes get caught in the machine, get caught in the drain.
Fabulous, yeah.
So I think, okay, clogged drain. What do you do with a clogged drain? Plunger.
You do not. You do not.
I ran to the bathroom, got the plunger, stuck it in the pasta machine.
You did not.
Got the machine open, and I'm standing there like holding the plunger. I was like, look, chef. And he's just like. So we obviously shut down the machine for service, had to dismantle it. Ended up doing all of lunch service, pots on the stoves, rolling gnocchi to order. And I've never stuck a plunger in the pasta machine again.
All I have to say, if one of America's most celebrated cookbook authors has plunged a gnocchi maker, you can do a lot in the kitchen. For our next bite, we are gonna make a gnocchi to redeem this gnocchi. We're not gonna do a potato gnocchi because I don't wanna bring up bad memories for you.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a one that's really hard to mess up. Has anyone ever heard of like a semolina gnocchi? Anyone? No? Yeah, most people haven't. Most people think of gnocchi the way that Kenji talked about, which is like these little pillows, right?
Exactly.
Do you know what gnocchi means? Like what it translates to?
Little cloud?
Close.
Pillow?
It actually means lump.
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 Okay.
So anything lumpy, I guess. So the first step to this is we've got a little bit of water and we've got semolina. How do you describe semolina?
It's like a kind of coarse flour.
Exactly, durum wheat. Yep. So you just pour that into the water.
This is actually, I've had Roman gnocchi many times, but I've never made it.
Really?
Never made it. Nope.
I love it.
I've
I
done
love
ricotta,
teaching
potato
Kenji
gnocchi,
something.
never
That's
made-
cool. So you just whisk that together, almost like you're making polenta or
Okay.
something like that, right? This will thicken up after about 5 minutes. You can add a little bit of nutmeg, black pepper, and salt. Go for it. Beautiful. And so what happens is you kind of whisk that up. It starts to look like porridge, right? And it gets really thick like grits. And then you pour it out onto a sheet tray. And it kind of looks like this. I know.
Get ahead, right?
You will definitely not mess up if you cook on TV. Yeah. So what happens is you at this point can kind of punch out shapes.
It's almost like a polenta cake. It's like when you have day-old polenta and you cut them out.
100%. 100%. So what you're gonna do is we have a little bit of a cookie cutter here.
Okay.
And we're just gonna cut out rounds. So you've got kids. I mean, you've got two kids. You're
Oh, this
kind
would
of
be a great
dad.
one for.
Oh, they
great
would
one for
love
kids.
this. Yeah, do like little star shapes and things like that. But
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, exactly. So when you're testing recipes, how often does it go sideways?
Often when you're testing recipes, you want it to purposely go sideways because you want to find out how would someone at home possibly mess this up, and how do you make sure that they don't? You know, so oftentimes with recipes, you want to kind of try and break them.
Yep.
You know, because it's not that people are bad at following instructions. It's that instructions don't universally apply to every situation, right?
Totally.
And everybody's kitchen's different. Everybody's hand size is different.
Yes.
There's all these things that can affect the way a recipe comes out. So yeah, oftentimes you will purposely try and make the recipe as poorly as possible.
You gotta take it to the edge.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Guys, look at this. You wanna hold that up for everyone, Kenji, so everyone can see? It's kind of cool, right? That's great, actually. So then we're gonna put some blue cheese over the top. You can use any cheese, yeah, but blue cheese over the, I know, that's not gonna suck.
Just gonna sprinkle it
Put
over?
right over the top. And then stick this under the broiler for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes until it kind of just melts up and you're good to go. Now, the question, did you cook growing up? Like, was this a thing? Eventually, I'll go put this in the broiler.
Wait, I'm gonna get blue cheese off my fingers.
Yeah.
I did not really cook growing up. It was not really an interest of mine. I thought my career was going to be in science. Exactly.
Totally. Okay,
Totally
interesting.
did. And then when I went sideways and went into restaurants, and I was working in restaurants for a long time, you can't turn off the way your mind thinks. And so for me, a lot of the times it was I want to get the answers to some of these questions I have. And restaurants, they're great at teaching you skills. They're great at teaching
100%.
you discipline and all these good skills to have. But they're not the best place to sort of explore cooking questions because they're really just about sort of production, right? So for me, it's kind of finding a place where I could kind of marry these two loves was my goal. And now I kind of do it on my own, which is even better.
Hey everyone, it's Kenji, and I'm gonna make a BLT. This sandwich is gonna drip. Oh my goodness, that is so good.
You do a lot on your own. Has anyone ever seen the Kenji cooking show on YouTube? Yeah. Okay, we have to talk about this for a sec.
Okay.
We have to talk about this for a sec.
Also an accident.
Yeah, that's also, that's okay. Everything in his life's an accident. There's camera people around here. There's no camera people. Explain your show and the format of the show. This is nuts.
I was coming back from vacation once, a snorkeling trip.
Okay.
And I had a GoPro for taking pictures of fish, I was at home and I was like, oh, I'm about to make food. There's my camera sitting on the counter. I was like, oh, I wonder if what would happen if I put this camera on while I was cooking food. So I did that, and I put that video up on YouTube. One day I looked at my YouTube channel. I was like, oh, this one video has 1 million something views. What was that one? I was like, oh, it was the one where I stuck the camera in my head. Maybe I'll do that some more. And so I get used to sort of talking to an audience while cooking, and so
Yes.
I'm pretty good at sort of narrating what's going on while I'm cooking. And I found it just really comfortable to just kind of have a camera in my head, talk as if I was trying to show someone something that I was excited about, and be natural. And I think people kind of like the fact that my books are very sort of precise and sort of very technique oriented. I think a lot of people think, oh, you have to do it this way or it's going to come out wrong. And what I try and show on my YouTube channel is that no, you don't have to do it exactly the way it is. I'm cooking at home. I'm not following the recipes. I'm changing them around, and so I can sort of explain, hey, if you don't have this ingredient, you can use this one. I'm using this because my daughter loves this ingredient. Whatever it is, So I try and show how recipes are adaptable, and by understanding the technique behind them, then you can sort of be in charge of your own
Destiny.
Of your own destiny.
It's
in the
your own
kitchen.
thing.
Exactly.
Love it. All right. Well, check this out. This is what it kind of looks like once it's broiled. Isn't that
That is
awesome?
beautiful,
That's
yeah.
stunning. We're gonna put a little brown butter sage situation on top
Okay.
of that. So this is already warm. We melt butter, right? And we take it kind of to browning, which scientifically that's just caramelization, right?
Butter is about 80% fat and about 18% water.
I love the way his mind works. Yeah.
And a couple percent protein and sugars, right? And so essentially when you brown butter, you're boiling off the water content. You're
Yes.
going to see that foaming at the beginning.
Yes.
And then once that boiling happens, then the temperature of the butter can actually rise above 212 degrees to the point, up into the 300s, which is where the Maillard reaction, that browning reaction occurs. So
I love you so much, man. I literally, can you just listen to him? I mean, it's amazing. It's insane. All right, here in Washington State, we have amazing hazelnuts. So a little bit of hazelnuts and then some sage. And then we've got some finished right here. Do you want to just kind of spoon that over the top?
Absolutely.
Go for it. So you just take this brown butter and you just kind of, it gets kind of crispy and look at that. I know. If that is not heaven on earth, doesn't that look insane?
This looks amazing.
It really does. It's actually good for winter too.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, this is gnocchi that Kenji did not plunge. This is legit beautiful gnocchi, semolina.
Wow. Beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
I think, all right, I'm gonna give you a spoon.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab a spoon, and then I'm gonna grab something real quick.
This is my first bite of food of the day, by the way.
Really?
Because I've been like, I'm trying to learn how to make lattes, and so I've been running around
I've
Seattle
seen you doing that, yeah.
meeting baristas, learning how to make lattes.
Oh. Oh, that's killer. That is killer. You're into that.
The blue cheese doesn't come out until the very end.
Yes.
You get that like hazelnut and sage first. It's really nice.
And there's some monster texture. Okay, he's gonna keep housing that. I love that. All right, so 3 questions for you, Kenji. We ask all guests this. You ready? Number 1. You've probably eaten a lot of weird things. Weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
The thing that was most difficult for me was balut, so the fertilized duck embryos in an egg. I was in Cambodia, and there was a guy walking with a little steaming thing on his back, and I asked him what it was. He said balut, and put it on this little plastic chair. I sat in it. He put down a little plastic table. He gave me these duck eggs. You open up the eggs, and it's like literally a baby duck inside there. But there's people on the street like, oh, like look at that American. He's gonna try this thing, like just staring at me. So I couldn't back down at that point. So I just put as much pickled garlic and chilies as I could. Ate it, and I would not do that again. I was not a fan. Personally, not a fan. Yeah.
All right. I mean,
I know it's a
I think
delicacy,
you just
but-
won the award for weirdest thing. Best thing you've ever eaten?
Slice of pizza from Sacco in 54th and 10th,
Oh,
New York.
yep.
It's the pizza I
Stood
grew
up
up
right
on.
there. Half of this belly's from Sacco, baby. Last question. This is controversial.
Yeah.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, come
Why?
on.
How is that not a sandwich?
If you said to me, hey, Kenji, can you go get me a sandwich? And I said, sure. And I came back to you with a hot dog, do you think I would have accomplished the mission? Would you be like, what is this? That's a hot dog.
Fair. All right, let's move on to the cocktail. I love it. Very fair. Well, this episode is all about recipe redemption. So we're actually making a classic cocktail called the Redemption.
Okay.
Have you ever had this before?
Possibly, but maybe I don't remember it.
Yeah. Well, you start with a little bit of ice in a shaker, and then we've got some really good bourbon. And we're gonna start with just about an ounce each. If you wanna just use the jigger and go for it, right in there. And then what makes this, it's kind of like a Manhattan, but a little bit more citrusy, right, Ashley? I mean, really, really light, really nice. And then
Like right home.
a little, exactly. And then a little bit of vermouth. So right in there, yep.
Okay,
and then
that's also
sweet vermouth, yep.
Got it.
And then we've got some orange bitters. Just give it a couple dashes, just eye it. I'm scared to ask Kenji to eye. Like, I feel like you want to measure it. And then shake it up,
I
buddy.
have all everything.
Yeah. And then you really want to shake it up. Guys, we say this all the time. It's happy mistakes. But
Rinse this off.
I love it. I would never rinse that off. I would never rinse that
I
off.
would do it if I was at home.
Yeah, he's like, well, we are on TV in front of millions of people. All right.
The alcohol kills it.
Yeah, it's really important as Kenji shakes this. You really got to shake a cocktail, not just 2 shakes. This really chills it. I'm gonna let you go until you pass out. Keep going, baby. Keep going.
You know what's really cool? When you shake a cocktail on ice, the combination of alcohol, water, and ice, when you shake them, they actually drop to below the freezing temperature of the ice. So even if your ice was at 0 degrees, this whole mixture, once you start to shake it, will actually drop below that temperature.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
it's really crazy.
That's so
read
cool.
Dave Arnold's cocktail book. It'll explain all the science.
Do you understand why this guy writes encyclopedias? Like, this is why he does it. It's unbelievable. Go for it, baby. Yeah. We're gonna drop a couple of lemon twists in there, and oh, that looks frothy and delicious. Yeah, this is what I want. And by the way, so glad to hear you haven't eaten anything today, because this is gonna hit hard. This is gonna hit really hard. First and foremost, listen, this is to all the mistakes out there, because honestly, that makes the best food. But honestly, Kenji, this is to you. You are such an inspiration to so many of us. So thank you for being here. You rock.
So much for having me.
I want to thank you guys, our studio audience. You guys are amazing, and everyone who tuned in at home. We'll catch you next time. Make sure to make those mistakes and enjoy some amazing food. See you next time. See you, everyone. To check out all the recipes we made today and more, visit us at homemade.live. You'll find our free cooking class schedule where you can cook with me live in real time. I'll see you in the kitchen.